Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Baby, let me tell you something. I'm not clearing nothing up. Feel how you want to feel about me and stand on it. Period.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, YouTube. Nice to see my early birds up and chirping bright and early this morning. It is Wednesday, February 22nd, hump day. It seems like we were just here. Like we were just talking about hump day. Where did our weekend go? Where did our week go? Oh my gosh, I'm going nuts here. Absolutely crazy. Lots of stuff has been going on. And as you guys have seen on my thumbnail, I feel like this world is burning and ablaze. And we're going to be discussing that. It is starting to get serious enough that Bullhorn Betty and channel have decided to discuss some much needed things that are quite concerning for me. And because we are not just a true crime community, I cover breaking news. And right now I am a little, uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And we're going to be going over that before we get into our true crime stuff today, because I think it's of utmost importance to me and to my audience. Even to the people that hate me and everything else, obviously we want to make sure that everybody is safe. And so I'm going to take a few minutes out to discuss some serious matters. But before we do that, we need to get right. So I want to say good morning to everyone that's in here. Just Samantha, the first to say good morning. So it's nice to see you, Just Samantha. I know you probably are working diligently behind the scenes as you fact check a lot of stuff. So we're very, very gracious to have Just Samantha in our chat, followed by M.E. Karen Davis, nice to see you, Love Bug. Brandy, it's nice to see you. Stacy, Kitty Cats. Who else do we have? Sheila, Crazy Cat Lady. Good morning, y'all. Kim, it's nice to see you. Belinda, Buffalo, Tennessee, or Mountain, Tennessee girl. Love it, love it. Vape King in the house, followed by Wild Angel, MJ, Jesslyn, Pen 1010. Good morning, love. Sharon Perez, good morning. ZA, Princess Megan Elsa. Ooh, Dolly Vision in the house. Well, good morning there, Dolly Vision. I hope you are having a wonderful morning. I think you were up entirely too early. Just want to throw that out there. It's nice to see you. Oh, Lord. C. Lynn, BJ Strang, 2020. That is too much. Oh, Lord. So it's nice to see you guys all here this morning. Listen, I have to be honest with you, and good morning to everybody else that I didn't get to you. I have to be honest with you. Right now, there are a lot of things that are really starting to worry me quite a bit around this. Everything we've been hearing. We've been hearing about explosions. We've been hearing about spy balloons being shot out of the sky. And there's just more and more and more. And I don't think people are connecting the dots. So we're not going to, I'm going to show you a video from Nerdy Attic showing you some of the damage from this first derailment that we heard about in West Palestine or Palestine, whatever, however you pronounce it, Ohio. There was another large explosion in Ohio the day before yesterday, I believe. And yes, it was the day before yesterday at a factory, at a warehouse, a large warehouse with chemicals. And there's been a lot more than that going on. And it's getting to the point where I feel the need to bring it up on the show, which you guys know we do not get into all the worldly issues that are going on, but this is kind of really worried me. So we're going to get to this, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this up now, and we're going to watch it. This is, again, a Nerdy Addicts calling it acid rain. We heard that the government was doing a controlled burn of the chemicals. They said that nothing is going to damage people, nothing's going to infect our air, yet fish are dying, foxes are dying, chickens are dying, and now we have clear coat coming off of.
I live like 40 miles west of this derailment, and it rained last night. Turned to snow today, or whatever this might be. Anyways, I noticed these bubbles on my truck.
It's clear coat. It's
not ice. Look at that. Whatever that shit is taking the clear coat right off my truck. Ohio.
Now, I want to bring this up to you guys because one, this is not the only thing. There's a lot of things that people aren't paying attention to, like a huge prior to this explosion, this derailment, these chemicals, this killing birds, foxes, animals, fishes, and everything else in there. Now we're going to go over to Brooklyn. Give me just a second. Let me pause this. And this is just coming out. This is Williamsburg, Brooklyn area. And I want to show this to you. It's starting to get a little scary, guys. And this is the reason why I'm bringing it up to you guys now. This was, let me get this up here. This came in from Brooklyn, New York on February 23rd, another explosion in our states. And again, this is not something I typically bring on to our channel, but because of the great importance that it is, I know outside of our states, we're not paying attention to a lot, but there's a lot going on in our country. A lot going on in our country right now. And I know this is not to scare my audience by any stretch of the imagination, but there's something going on and I don't know what it is. And it's scaring the crap out of me. But our country, I feel, is under attack right now. I have never in my lifetime ever had an explosion in New York, or excuse me, a derailment in Ohio, an explosion in Ohio, followed by an explosion in Brooklyn, New York. And that's not even it. There's more. There's more. There's more. There's even more. Let's keep going. Another derailment in Nebraska. Are you guys getting it? There's something going on in this country. And I'm not going to sit here and be silent about it, because there's definitely something going on that is starting to become hard to explain to me. Williamsburg is a very religious Jewish community, Jewish area, Amy says. So again, I am not trying to scare the audience. I'm not trying to scare people that are going to be watching this, but I am going to tell you there is something going on in this country. This stuff is just, we haven't heard these things happening, and then boom, this stuff is like a chain reaction from last week to this week. There's been so many derailments, so many explosions going on around our country. And this is a little scary on the heels of, one, our president not being in this country when all these things are going on. And two, there was a meeting in Switzerland just last month, or the beginning of this month, that has me very, very concerned. And I'm not going to go into it. I want you guys to do your own due diligence. But just for you guys to know, there is something going on in this country. And it's not feeling very comfortable to me. Here's what you guys need to be made aware of. First and foremost, the reason why we have the Army and the military that we have so well is because we ship them off to war, okay? We ship them off to war. We ship them off to wherever we need to fight, because we keep war off of our land. So we would rather go to the fight than the fight come here. That has always been our stance in the United States. This is not something that's new. This is something that's been going on for hundreds of years. We go to the fight. We don't let the fight come here. Early on, we've had wars here on our land, and the reason why we no longer have them here. But it seems like somebody is knocking on our front door and kicking it in at the moment. and I don't know what to do, but I felt that it was necessary that each and every one of you guys stay vigilant when you're out. Stay away from factories, stay away from trains, stay away from, I mean, just, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I don't know, Allie. I don't know who, I don't know what. I have no earthly idea. I'm just saying I have never seen anything like this before, and it's scaring the crap out of me. And we need to pay attention. We need to pay close attention to what is going on in our country, but something is not right. Something is not right. To kind of put us on a right note and to get us back on track on this this live. And again, I'm telling you guys this because I feel it's my duty to use my platform. We have no factories or trains. Just be careful, Mamie. I don't know. Again, I don't know what's going on, but this is, you know, one derailment's one thing, but now we've got 2 different explosions, 2 different derailments, and there's more that I haven't even uncovered yet. But it's scary. And I want you guys, if you guys hear of anything in your communities, if you see anything that's out of the ordinary, please pick up the phone, call your local law enforcement, call the FBI. If you see strange people leaving packages anywhere, I don't care. Something's going on. And I want everyone that's in here that's watching this video to be safe. Okay. So on to other stuff. That wasn't even part of, you know, this show this morning. But as I was reading through all this and looking at it, Susie Sue sent me a lot of stuff yesterday. And looking at all this stuff and looking at it back to back to back to back, it is derailment in Detroit too. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here, and we can't blame it on failing infrastructure. We can't blame it on failing infrastructure. These things are just, it's too much. It's too much going on too soon. Something's going on in our country. Okay, granted, it's not jets being flown into the World Trade Center, but there's definitely something going on. Thank you, Brown Eyes. Yes, God bless the United States. United we stand, divided we fall. This is time for all of us to get on board and start being kinder to one another, because I'm telling you, that's all we've got right now. That is all we've got. I don't know what's going on in this country, but something is going on. And I'm not going to downplay it. I'm not going to upplay it, but there's something, and we need to be careful, all of us. All right, guys, I know that was kind of hard to listen to, hard to watch. I know that we believe something is going on here, but getting back to our program, I did want to kind of lighten the mood a little bit as we start talking about some horrible cases, and then we're going to open up the phone lines immediately and just start chatting. So today's February 22nd, and it says, stop throwing that blame around. There are 2 kinds of people in the world. A friend explained to me one day. There are ones who blame other people for everything that happens, and there are those who blame themselves. Have you ever watched a movie where one of the actors used a flamethrower? In a movie I watched one day, they called this instead a blame thrower. It's a little torch of fiery rage that we throw at each other or ourselves when situations don't work out as we plan. Thank you, Freckles. God bless you. Blaming can be a healthy stage of grieving or letting go, but staying too long in the stage can be unproductive and can keep us taking constructive action. Blaming ourselves too long can turn into self-contempt. Blaming others can keep us heavy and dark with resentment and fuel the victims within. If we're going to throw a loss, or if our life is twisted on you, pick up your blame thrower in the privacy of your own journal. Give yourself 10 or 20 minutes to blame without censorship. Get it out. Write out everything you want to say, whether you're throwing blame at someone else or at yourself. It may take longer if the loss is larger, but the point is to give yourself limited amounts of time for blame throwing session, then cease fire. Stop. move on to the next stage of living, which is letting go, accepting and taking responsibility of yourself. God, help me teach myself to see if I'm holding on to the blame of myself or someone else. If I am, help me get it out in the open, and then help me let it go. So I thought that was a good little passage. Tomorrow's going to even be better. So we're going to keep, I love the February month. It's always such a fun month with the language of letting go. So at any rate, I figured we needed a little pick me up. Stop blaming yourself and stop blaming others. Life is life, right? So on our next portion, our next segment, we're going to talk about something that is a little odd if you ask me. And I looked into this, and it is very, very odd. This is a case that happened about a decade ago, and it was ruled an accident. Good morning, Angela. Nice to see you here this morning, AG, Justice for All. Nice to see you. Hi, Tattooed. Hopefully, you guys, if you haven't watched the beginning part of this segment, you go back and watch the first, at least the first 15 minutes. A lot of information that everybody needs to see in this live is at the beginning of this, and it is our disclaimer to our audience. There's something going on in this world. But getting back to this is something that was tweeted by Jennifer Coffendorfer. This beautiful young lady's case has been reopened after initially ruling Ellen Greenberg took her life. Guys, this woman was stabbed 20 times, and whatever idiot investigators said it was a suicide attempt. Now, mind you, she also stabbed herself many times in the back of her own head. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that before with a knife. Next to impossible. Next to impossible. Her family never believed that she was suicidal or took her life. But this is the story of this teacher. So the initial determination, please use your platform. So she's asking us to use our platform to share this story. So I'm taking her advice and sharing this story of this beautiful woman that was stabbed to death, that was ruled a suicide. But when we open this up and you see where the stab wounds are, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that this is far from a suicide attempt or suicide in its entirety. So I wanted to get over here, but I don't think it's going to let me. I'm probably going to have to, give me just a second. I'm going to have to drop this one down as it goes into a commercial on the other one, but we will get it up and you guys will have sound and about 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Not sure what's going on here.
A new twist in the case of a beloved schoolteacher found dead with 20 stab wounds. Her death was ruled a suicide, but the case is now being reopened after more than a decade.
I believe it should have been. There we go. It took me a little while. I believe it should have been ruled a homicide, and we're going to hear details.
Did your daughter kill herself?
No.
In 2011, Ellen Greenberg was about to be married. Her fiance told authorities he came home from the gym to find her.
You're going to hear the 911 call in just a second, and you can tell something isn't right with him. I don't know how in the hell they were able to rule this a suicide. I really don't. This was poor policing.
Lying in their apartment in Philadelphia.
My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere. Please come help now.
Sam Goldberg tells the operator he thinks she may have slipped and hit her head.
Willing to do CPR with me over the phone so they can...
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bear her...
Do you find that odd? Will you perform CPR? Well, I'm going to have to. I want you guys to hear that again. Go back one more.
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back.
Who says that? I have to, right? Like, I don't know.
Her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off?
Oh, my God. Allie, please. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper.
Rip
oh,
it
my
off.
God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
She stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Ellen had 20 stab wounds, 10 on the back of her neck, 1 to the scalp, also stabbed in the abdomen, and 8 times to the chest. Ellen's death was at first ruled a homicide, but that was
Sorry, I've got
homicide.
It won't let me pause with my space bar, which it usually does. You guys are going to be amazed when you see where these stab wounds are and how in the world they could say that this was a suicide attempt.
Her parents have spent the last 11 years fighting that ruling. Sandy and Josh Greenberg even commissioned this image.
There it is. There it is. Can you explain to me how somebody can get knives in the trajectory of the back of their head in those ways? This was horrible, horrible policing. 10 years, this woman has had no justice. 10 years because they ruled this a suicide. I want you to take a look at that picture. And I want you to go grab a butter knife. If you have a longer prodder, if you have one of those things for the kebabs, grab that because that's probably more in line with the length of a knife. And you try to stab yourself in the back of the head. And police are just now reopening her case. I want you guys to look at that. No way in hell. I'm sorry. No way. No possibility of this coming from her. First of all, to cut yourself once or twice in a rage, maybe 3 or 4 times, but you're on the front side of your body, not this. This is somebody that wanted somebody to pay. This is what I call overkill. Overkill. Apparently this police department or whoever did the investigation doesn't understand those words. Oh, sorry. I lost my place. We'll start back here so you guys can hear
With me over the phone so they can...
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off.
Oh, my God. Allie, please. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife.
That's the first thing he thinks is she stabbed herself.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
She stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Ellen had 20 stab wounds, 10 on the back of her neck, 1 to the scalp, also stabbed in the abdomen, and 8 times to the chest. Ellen's death was at first ruled a homicide, but that was later changed to a suicide. Her parents have spent the last 11 years fighting that ruling. Sandy and Josh Greenberg even commissioned this image to show how improbable it is their 27-year-old daughter could stab herself that many times.
The authorities trying to make us believe that our daughter committed suicide when she didn't is just reprehensible.
This young bride-to-be is stabbed over 20 times and is deemed a suicide.
Now that's pretty bad. And for them to take 11 years, 11 years.
Now prosecutors have agreed to review the case.
If it's not a suicide, as we believe, well, then Ellen was murdered, which means there's a murderer or murderers among us.
No
you feel that there's hope?
We hope so. We're not going to let this go.
Well, no shit. Excuse my language. Some of this stuff, I tell you, it just drives me up a wall. It's like, well, if she didn't commit suicide, it'd have to be homicide. And we've had a murderer on the loose. Yeah, for 11 years because you guys are dumb. Like, I personally just do not get it. And then we're not done. We're not done yet, right? Remember Debbie Collier? Remember that? It's kind of funny that Dolly Vision was in the chat this morning because we were in Georgia And we went out to cover this case on one of our days that we needed not to be, we had other things we needed to do, right? We had those crazy ladies and we decided to take off, not deal with them. Here, let's look at this. We have more. And I still haven't quite got this one yet. Because this was also, you guys remember Debbie Collier? Found dead? She went and ate twice, and people said that she went and bought herself a tarp, a lighter, some other things, a tote bag. Remember that? And she was found hours from her home, deceased. The autopsy of Debbie Collier reveals that 80% of her body was burned, and no explanation of suicide. So this is a New York Post article. It's probably not going to let me go there. Hold on, let me just, since this is not a video, I'm just going to share my screen, my entire screen. There is a video, then we'll have to do something else, but there we go. And so we're going to read this because this was a case that we covered as well. Debbie Collier's autopsy reveals, let me put this up in bigger, reveals 80% of her reveals burns to 80% of her body with no explanation of suicide. And so here is this, and I almost want to play it as well. Yeah, we won't play that. I don't want to get into it. But there she is going into the store, and here's what the story says. It says, Georgia office worker Debbie Collier's body was 80% burned when she was found in a ravine, 60 miles from her home, according to her autopsy report. The report done by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, and obtained by the Post through public records request raises more questions about Collier's shocking death, which was ultimately ruled a suicide despite months-long homicide investigation. Sounds pretty familiar to that one girl that we were just listening to and we just heard about prior to this, right? It seems like when they hit a wall, they want to clear the case. They don't even care about the truth anymore. They just need to get the case off their books. Collier is a doting mom of 2 adult children, was reported missing September 10th after she sent her daughter Amanda a Venmo payment of $2,385 with a chilling message, "They're not going to let me go. Love you." She was found dead in a ravine the next day in a wooded area of rural Habersham County, more than an hour north of her Athens, Georgia home. We were at her Athens, Georgia home. Officials quickly opened a murder investigation that bore no results for months before police initially said Collier had charring on her stomach, but the autopsy reveals her burn were far more extensive, describing second and third degree burns involving 80% of her total body surface. The reports say Collier died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication. Collier often took painkillers, hydrocodone, as prescribed by doctors due to a prolonged back injury. Autopsy examinations revealed thermal injuries of external body surface and tracheal mucus, the windpipe, no deposits of soot in the airway, and no significant elevation of blood hemoglobin, carboxyhemoglobin. I don't know what that is. The report, which notates no significant injuries, were noted. These findings may be due to a sudden, intense flash fire, as well as outdoor environment of the fire, GBI wrote. The officials noted that the melted gas can was found near the burn site, perhaps the source of the flash fire, but did not explain the other circumstances, including that Collier was naked when discovered, and when she was slightly downhill from the fire, gripping the base of a small tree with her right hand. That doesn't sound like somebody that is trying to die. Medical examiners said Collier was discovered with third-degree burns to her face, charged portions of her scalp, and charred leathery skin throughout her body. The autopsy report does not explain how the death was ruled a suicide beyond a quick line that states investigation by law enforcement revealed the circumstances consistent with self-intentioned act that she was alone at the time of the incident. Georgia police described Collier's death in late September as a personal and targeted, but never publicly named any suspects. The suicide rule shocked those following the case and even some family members. Police also never explained Collier's Venmo message to her daughter, which caught the attention of the nation when revealed, or why she stopped at the Family Dollar store and bought a poncho, a refillable torch lighter, paper towels, and a tarpaulin and tote bag on the day she disappeared. Collier, 59, worked for a local real estate agency in Athens and lived with her husband, Steve, in a small yellow house on the edge of town. Police were able to find her by tracking her rented vehicle Sirius XM radio, satellite radio, which led them to US 441 near Victoria Home Lane. Her body was discovered about a quarter mile into the woods. The neighbors told the Post in September she heard a commotion coming from Collier's house the night before she vanished, and the family frequently engaged in screaming and fighting. Her daughter, Amanda, had only returned to town with her boyfriend, amateur MMA fighter Andrew Gingrich, a few days before her death. Or Gingrich, I don't know what the name is. They told the Post September that he and his girlfriend were being treated like suspects in the case, but the couple was ultimately cleared of any involvement by police, and as was her husband, who was seen on video at the time of her disappearance working parking lot at the University of Georgia Bulldog game. So there you have it. I'm not sure what is going on, but this, again, doesn't feel right, in my opinion, related to Debbie Collier. And with that other one, where police ruled a woman that was stabbed in the back of her head, they ruled her a suicide. A suicide. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Right? And lastly, before we open up the phone lines, I know today's I've got a hair appointment. We've got Alex Murdoch going on, and we're going to be opening up this phone line. I hope you guys participate because, one, I want to hear your discussions on how you feel this world is going. I mean, is these spy balloons being shot out of the sky, all these derailments, all these explosions across the country? Is this just the new life that we need to become accustomed to? Is it just simple infrastructure that has gone unmaintained for so long and now it's just a boiling point in this country? Or are we under attack by unknown forces? That's what I'd like to know from you guys. How do you feel about this lady being stabbed in the back of her head? How do you feel about Debbie Collier being ruled a suicide? Now we're finding out this, but nothing is really very clear on how they came up with that suicide as the cause of death. And then we go over here, and here's another message from Jennifer Coffendorfer on Twitter related to the Idaho 4. It appears that it is possible that they will be moving this venue for his trial, which I think, with all these gag orders in place and everything that are just going to prove to be a violation of the law, there's other remedies such as the change in venue 300 miles away. I think they can find an impartial jury. I don't think they'll ever find an impartial jury in Moscow. Here's why. Moscow is a small community, small. Everybody knows everybody in this small community. There's no way. The thought of them being able to do this trial in Latah County was I don't know what they were thinking to even consider that. with such a high profile case in such a small town. But she writes, a trial is months, if not years away, but talk already about the jury pool. At some point, the judge will make a ruling as to whether an impartial jury can be chosen from Latah County. I think a change of venue is inevitable. I have to agree. And then we go to the Idaho Statesman. And the Idaho, that was the link that she had on there. And the Idaho Statement, this is getting so irritating. Get the entire screen up so I can quit doing this. There we go. And in the Idaho Statement, it says, would Brian Kohberger's murder trial stay in Latah County? What experts say. So here it is. Brian Kohberger won't be seen in court again until June. Even after the appearance, a preliminary hearing at the Latah County Courthouse will be longer before a potential jury trial may form. The 28-year-old is accused of stabbing 4 University Idaho students to death at an off-campus home in November. At the hearing, June 26, the prosecuting attorney is tasked with presenting evidence that show there is probable cause to believe Kohberger committed the crimes. Kohberger faces 4 counts of felony first-degree murder and a felony burglary charge in the November 13th attack that took the lives of Madison Mogan, 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, of Rathdrum, Xander Knodel, 20, of Post Falls, and Ethan Chapman, 20, of Mount Vernon, Washington. If he pleads not guilty, the court will set a trial date. A few critical questions looming, including whether the trial would be moved to a different county. Either party, the prosecution or the defense, could file a motion for change of venue. If granted, the change would transfer the trial to a county away from Moscow. The roughly 26,000, that's correct, very small, 26,000 population college town in North Idaho that draws unrelenting attention from national news outlets and true crime enthusiasts in the months since the 4 students' death. Why move trial? There are several arguments to be made for changing the venue, but chief among them is to effect a pretrial publicity on potential jurors, according to Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake. In early 2021, Blake took over the prosecution of high-profile criminal cases against Lori Avallo Daybell and Chad Daybell, who are charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the death of 2 of Lori's children and Chad Daybell's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Chad Daybell's lawyer requested a change in venue for trial, arguing substantial media attention would affect the court's ability to find a fair and unbiased jury in Fremont County in East Idaho. A judge granted the request, moving the trial from Ada County Courthouse in Boise. While the case is still under Fremont County jurisdiction, the jurors will be from Ada County. The decision to move the trial is up to the judge, Blake said. Most often, she adds, it's the request of the defense, not the prosecution. Each case is decided on individual basis, Blake told the Idaho Statement by phone. But a lot of time they're looking at pretrial publicity they feel that could get a more impartial jury. The Idaho Supreme Court says judge may change the location of the trial if there is reason to believe an impartial trial can't be held in the county where the case is filed, or if the convenience of witnesses and the ends of justice would be promoted by the change. Could an impartial jury be found in Moscow? That is the big question here. On December 28, 2 days before Kohberger's arrest, the Statement interviewed Latah County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson at his office in Moscow. When asked whether he thought an unbiased jury could be found in Latah County should the case come to trial, he seemed optimistic. I don't see why we wouldn't, as long as there's no irresponsible dissemination of information, Thompson said. Irresponsible dissemination? That is not, listen, that goes directly against the spirit of the First Amendment here in our Constitution in the United States, period. Unfortunately, even lies are protected under the freedom of speech. Even lies, right? If you lie about somebody, they have legal recourse by taking you to court for defamation, but the speech itself, even lies, are protected under the First Amendment. So they cannot control the narrative. They cannot control what the press decides to run with. They can't control it because, again, under the First Amendment, we have freedom of press. So this whole dissemination of information is not for them to control. It's for them to work around in the confines of the law, which allows them to change the venue. So I want to make sure that that is very clear. At the time, few details about the investigation had been released, and the public was still unaware Kohberger had been identified as a suspect. But in the weeks leading up to the arrest, Moscow Police Chief James Fry did various interviews with media that offered glimmers of hope. As the prosecuting attorney Thompson said, he's concerned with making sure the prosecution is done in a fair and legal manner. He said professional ethics rule restrict what he can release outside of court because he does not want to create a bias in the community. We have a legal obligation not to do anything to taint the potential jury pool because when we come to trial, we need to be able to select jurors who don't have preconceived opinions of what occurred. Jurors who can be fair, impartial, and can listen to the evidence in court and make a decision based on the evidence, he said. It's really important to protect the integrity of the criminal process, but it's a balancing act. Thomas agreed the public has the right to know what is going on. Well, thank you, Attorney Thompson, for letting us know and letting everybody out there know the public does indeed have the right to know. And I want to stress that. I want to stress that because all these law enforcement YouTubers out there tell us we don't have a right to know. Excuse me, you need to brushing up on the law, primarily the Constitution, that thing that you are putting your badge and your gun on to protect, that you're sworn to protect, yet you don't know a damn thing about. So all these law enforcement agencies that are wearing badges, wearing guns, you better know the rights of the people as well. Now, a sweeping non-dissemination order, also known as a gag order, prevents lawyers, law enforcement agencies, and others associated with the case from talking or writing about it. Thompson and Kohberger's court-appointed defense team in Kootenai, I think I spelled that right, County Public Defender Ann Taylor and Chief Deputy Litigator Jay Weston Logsden filed a document Jan 3rd demanding the judge issue a gag order, writing that the restrictions it imposed would protect the integrity of the integrity of the case to be presented at trial. You can't do that. You know that. As attorneys, you know that this is going against every fiber of the law. But that's okay. They can do it in limited form. They can't do it in perpetuity. They can't do it any side out of the scope. They told us that we have access on March 1st, and I expect access on March 1st. This case involves matters that have received a great deal of publicity. Both parties wrote, this court has both a constitutional duty and an inherent authority to minimize the effects of prejudicial pretrial publicity and to ensure the effectuous administration of justice. But you have to do it with under the confines of the law, not break the law in order to protect the law. That doesn't make sense. Make that make sense. Where else could the trial go? Former Idaho Attorney General and Lieutenant Governor David Leroy told the Statesman that every defendant in the criminal case in the United States is entitled to a trial by jury of peers. Those peers are supposed to approach any jury service as unbiased and without opinions formed in advance of the case, Leroy said. Jurors must decide whether someone has shown to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt solely by the evidence that is produced in the courtroom. The evidence can take different forms, including scientific tests, a witness testimony. In the 19-page probable cause affidavit used to arrest Kohberger's, authorities laid out how they employ DNA evidence, vehicle and cell phone records, and other surveillance to find their suspect. The difference between Moscow residents and the rest of the state, Leroy said, is the proximity to the crime. Leroy said conversations among people in the community, along with the temptation for news crews to drive by King Road home where 4 students were killed, has been pervasive. Leroy said that the Kohberger defense team will likely presume that finding a jury in Latah County without previous opinions of the case could be difficult. He said Lewiston in Nez Perce, I don't know how to pronounce that county, just 30 miles south of Moscow, could provide a potential change of venue. So could Coeur d'Alene in Kootenai County, about 85 miles north, or Boise in Ada County, about 300 miles south. Three of the victims hail from Kootenai County. Even Kohberger's next court appearance over 4 months away, the fatal stabbing still garners significant news coverage in Idaho and across this country. In the days and weeks following the quadruple homicides, reporters flocked to the crime scene. The university student newspaper, The Argonaut, wrote in an article about the news coverage February 1st that nobody could have anticipated the swarm of cameras of out-of-town reporters that converged on U of I campus and throughout the town. The Argonaut also reported that students have been active about their discontent with all the attention on social media. In a very high-profile, high-publicity case such as this one, it's going to be very difficult to find anyone anywhere in Ohio that hasn't heard something about this case. And that is not our problem. That is their problem. I want to make that very clear. I don't mince my words when I'm on here. I'm a very fair person when it comes to this stuff, but let me not mince my words. There has been a lot of high-profile cases that have been successfully pled and successful trials provided. And I'm sorry, we have always had to work around freedom of the press since the formation of our government. Since the formation of our government. This is no different than any other high-profile case. Just like any other high-profile case, you're going to have a mess of media attention. And as far as the students on the campus, I don't care about their feelings. Sorry. This is part of life. Not everything is fair. You guys had a major murder happen in your community that has garnered worldwide attention. Too bad that the media is there. I'm sorry, I'm a constitutionalist, and freedom of the press is paramount, and freedom of our speech is paramount to our foundation here in the United States of America. And those will not go away, despite how uncomfortable it may be being an attorney, a prosecutor, or a judge. You still have to work in the confines of our Constitution and within our laws, and skirting the laws for your own personal benefit is not how we do it here in this country. So, cry me a river, build me a bridge, not my problem. Not my problem. My problem is unconstitutional gag orders and telling us we can't even see the probable cause affidavit because the courts lied and said it would create a public threat, a public safety issue. That was a lie. So it brings me back to whether this judge even should be overseeing this case to begin with, because I feel like it's outside of her wheelhouse. If she's already making these detrimental orders already up front, which a lot of communities are starting to use these gag orders as social media start getting in, because at the end of the day, the reason why we do not like mainstream media is because they are controlled. Their narrative is controlled. That's not freedom of press. That is being controlled mouthpiece for law enforcement and these attorneys. I am not a mouthpiece for law enforcement or the attorneys. I come out and tell you guys what we find, whether law enforcement likes it or not. Because that is true freedom of the press. So it really burns my grits when I hear lawyers and judges saying, oh, well, let's figure out how we can dupe the people. How can we skirt the law today so we don't have to spend extra money? Your money problems are not my problem. Do we want a fair trial? Of course we want a fair trial. Fair trials have been going on across this country since the beginning of time. So have bad trials, right? So have people that have been convicted that don't deserve to be convicted. Those have come way down from what they used to be with all the technology we have, with the forensic data, with the DNA testing. You know, these people that are perceived innocent or claiming innocence after conviction, the ones that are truly innocent after conviction are very low amounts this day and age. Do we still have people in prison that don't deserve to be there? Yes. But those were from years and years ago, back when our technology was not near as good. Remember, back in the day, they didn't have DNA. They had blood typing. So what does that mean? It means a whole bunch of nothing. If somebody with type O blood and another person that left type O blood there, you can convict somebody with type O blood. That's how innocent people got arrested and thrown in jail with these life sentences and even death. But those things, because of our technology, have come way, way, way down. It's very difficult this day and age to be convicted and have the evidence mounted against you without the evidence being mounted against you. Okay, let's be real. Do we still have it? Occasionally we do, but it is few and far between. So let's not let those small numbers affect our judgment when it comes to this stuff. So we've had high profile cases and they went to trial. How in the world did that happen? Because the law works the way the law works. The public has a right to know. Period. Period. There's no if, ands, or buts. Oh, but they only have the right to know if we can have a fair trial, if we can get a jury pool. No, it doesn't say any of that. It doesn't say any of that at all. The bottom line is we have a right to know. What they are doing does not rise to legal muster. It's going to be opened up to the public, and shame on the judge that chose to use these unethical rulings in her courtroom. Shame on her. And you guys will find out very soon, once these cases go before the Idaho Supreme Court, that gag order is going to go away like that. She has no right to put this on this case. I'm sorry, it's going to cost them a little more money moving the venue. Again, not my problem. It's not any media's problem at all. I want justice for Brian Kohberger, but I want to know what the heck is going on. And I have a right to know. And so do each and every one of you. So that was really it for my program today. I'm going to be opening up the phone lines and listening to all of you. We have an hour. We usually are rushed when we're doing this stuff. Today, we're not going to be rushed. We're not going to be rushed at all. We've got it. So here's the phones. Let me turn the phone lines on. And if you guys have something to say, if you have something to get off your chest, if it has nothing to do with this case, if it's a new case, give me a call, let me know. And while I'm doing that, I'll go through and see if I can find. But you know what? Because I'm a female, I'm supposed to be nicer because we have too many sexists out there that think that I'm not allowed to have my mouth and I'm not allowed to talk like a man. And I'm supposed to be home making cookies and stuff like that and being sweet and nurturing and stuff like that. If that's what you expect from this female, you got the wrong channel. I used to watch Ashley B, but now I don't know what to believe coming out of her anymore. I absolutely love you bringing us the real truth, like baby Quentin and his unfit family. Absolutely. And you know what? The news media out there, the reason why the prosecutors are fighting so hard to keep social media out is because of me. I am still media. It doesn't matter how they feel about it. We cover true crime cases. We cover the truth on this channel. And no matter how you look at it, I have a right to say it. And I'm not going to be forced to paint a narrative that the prosecutor's office, or the chief of police wants me to drive. They don't pay me, and they definitely, and I'm not a sellout. So even if they brought me a big old fat check, I'd rip it up right in front of their face and tell them to take a hike. I'd tell them to take a hike so I can get my little pennies here on YouTube by telling the truth. Right? I hope the media keeps pushing courts to drop gag orders. If everything was on the uppity up, why the need for the gag orders? I can't stand even hearing about a judge or AT that they make me sick. Yeah, those gag orders. There are. I mean, they can be used. They are a option that judges can use, but they have to be so limited. And she made it so grossly enlarged that it covers you can't do that. You can't have it overly burdensome. And this is the prong test she has to use. Is there other less restrictive means? And the answer is yes. There are other less restrictive means, such as moving the venue, having a jury pool come from a different community. There are ways to handle this that doesn't block the public out. And when I have, like in Chatham County, Georgia, and in Moscow, Idaho, when I hear both both prosecuting and defense wants these gag orders, I know there's something wrong there. I'm sorry. If it's going to make you spend money, again, not my problem. It's not media's problem, the financial benefits to a county. That's not my problem. It may sound heartless. I don't care. Again, not my problem. That is their problem. That is the state's problem. But you can't violate my rights while you'll figure it out. You can't do that. What does this say? Oh, she's just saying, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you, Lex. Nice to see you. Oh, you're welcome. Thoughts on Murdoch trial yesterday, Buster's testimony and other witnesses' testimony. Well, Lex, it's kind of funny that you say that because check this out. So yesterday we are watching this, and if you were here yesterday in chat, we have a great time in chat when we talk about stuff, and it really is an adult conversation for adults about this trial, and we talk about it. And yesterday when Buster was on the stand, you know, a lot of our audience in the chat was really upset that the prosecution didn't really cross-examine him too much. And so I was explaining to our audience that, you know, he really doesn't have any information. Why waste your time cross-examining a witness that wasn't there at the time of the crime, that has really no information related to the comings and goings of his mother, brother, or father, because he wasn't there? There really isn't a whole lot they can glean from his testimony other than what his father did, you know, before or right after the murders. That's really the only thing he could testify to. And he can't even testify to the conversations they had because it falls under the hearsay rule. So he can't even talk about what him and his father discussed because it falls under hearsay. So with that being said, again, yes, hearsay. Because people confuse what hearsay and what the hearsay rule is. So here you have, so that's the reason why they didn't cross-examine him. They said, hey, you know, whatever. I didn't believe a lot of the stuff that was coming out of Buster's mouth. Primarily, I mean, he killed it right from the very beginning when he was saying that the cars drive up to the back door. And then they show pictures of the back door and the grass. And it's like, wait a minute, there ain't no truck that drives on this grass. We all have grass in the United States. Most of us do, unless you're living in, you know, the Sahara Desert. But we have grass. And when you drive on grass, it makes an indentation on grass. And when you, not just lawnmower tires, you're talking about indentations. And if it's a route that people take often, it actually creates the path. It kills the grass. That wasn't there. It was beautifully manicured lawn that doesn't look like a tire has touched it. And then when pushed on it, he's like, oh, well, you know, like around the corners where they park. Okay, so they don't drive right up to the back door. He said that they go through the back door because mom and dad are downstairs. It's just easier to get to them. Then why did Alec call the housekeeper to tell her to unlock the door and let him in? So a lot of the stuff Buster was saying just fell on deaf ears for me. I felt him not a credible witness. That's just me personally. I also found that their first expert witness they brought up on the stand was not really an expert at all. I felt that the state walked all over their expert witness, so was trying to, well, and another thing that Buster said was the clothes. Oh, he leaves clothes everywhere. He's listing every place that his father stayed as him having clothes there, which I find unbelievable, because if he had clothes at Alameda, why are you packing his bag so he can go to Alameda? And including his toiletry bag, right? I could understand if he has clothes all this way, you don't need to pack a bag. You just got to grab your toiletry. You know, you got underwear, shoes, socks, shorts, shirts at all these places you're going to. So what's the purpose of buying new clothes? What's the purpose of packing bags if you have clothes everywhere, right? Every place that he stayed, every place that he listed, that Buster listed, was a place that Alex stayed after the murder of his wife and son. So again, why did he need to pack a bag? Why did he need to go buy clothes? He's got clothes there. Why did he need to bring them, right? And it was just to put doubt in people's minds of where those clothes that disappeared, that he's never been able to provide to law enforcement. The blue shirt that was worn when he went to work, that other Columbia style blue shirt. Oh, yeah. And him trying to say, oh, yeah, that's not a Columbia. I don't know what kind of shirt that is. That doesn't look like a Columbia shirt. And he never buys Vinnie Vine. I even heard him say Vinnie Vine out of his own mouth in one of the videos that we've got on camera. One of those recorded videos from law enforcement. He says Vinnie Vine right there. So Buster lied on the stand. He's not a credible witness, in my opinion. Then we have the expert that came up yesterday, didn't do anything. All he wanted to do is put a report together that looked like it benefited the defense, didn't put any information. What I liked about the state is they even put the information that didn't help them. They explained the stuff that didn't help the prosecution. Whether it was, they gave them the full picture. So there was no aha moments for the defense. Oh, but they didn't add this in, aha, right? But the defense did that to them, and they had their aha moment, which made that expert witness literally crumble on the stand. He had no idea. He wasn't taking certain factors into consideration before providing his testimony. He was using a 5 foot 2 inch guy holding the gun on the line. He didn't try to do a crouching position, a kneeling position. They didn't try to make it work so that a 6'4" guy was shooting the gun. They wanted to have it a little, a little kid, somebody my size. The defense, you can tell the judge is about over the defense. They're doing underhanded stuff. James Griffin was reprimanded by the judge yesterday for retweeting a Washington State Post or Washington Post post. I don't know how to say that. And the judge was not happy. And he's like, well, Your Honor, I didn't say anything. I just retweeted an article that was already out there. And he went into, well, you know what? So did this baseball or basketball or football player. I can't remember what analogy he used, but he says, so did this person. And guess what they did? They were suspended and lost over $10 million in funds because of just retweeting a post. So that sent a very strong message to the defense team. I thought the judge was going to sanction James Griffin. But I guess the public chastising the judge felt was the most appropriate. Now, I do believe if he does do that again, he will be sanctioned. He might be in contempt of court. We'll see. Yeah, I know that was odd. And we did see that, the smirking that Alec Murdoch was doing to his son while his son was on the stand, like, thank you, son. Thank you. Didn't help either side. Truly, I didn't think it helped either side either, Lex. I really didn't. That's why I wasn't upset when I noticed they didn't. There was no point in questioning him. They asked him a few questions, so they looked like they were at least cross-examining him. But to be honest with you, I would have been just fine with him them saying no questions for this this witness, because that would have even been more profound, in my opinion. It would have been more profound because it would basically say he's not really a witness. And but they did acknowledge him as a witness. They did ask him some questions. He did apologize, you know, that they're there for this particular reason, even though they were interrupted by Harpoolian Poot Poot, Mr. Poot Poot, Mr. Poot Poot, and Mr. Magoo. I didn't name these. I'm telling you, this is why the chat is so awesome. I didn't name these people. The chat has their own nicknames for these for the attorneys on the defense. I have so much fun. You know, I'm sitting there reading. You know, I'm paying attention. Meanwhile, you know, the chat is just going. I'm there with my pad. And, you know, I'm sitting there watching the thing. I'm writing down everything that you could possibly imagine. Where is my pad, by the way? I wanted to show you guys this. That's still out there. It's probably still out there on my table. But I'm sitting there taking notes, and I'm looking at Poot Poot and Magoo. And I'm taking notes, and I look up, and I tell you what, this chat has me cracking up. They have me freaking cracking up. It is hilarious. You guys are very creative in your wording. You know, it's funny. You know, and not only that, but they get an opportunity to talk about their opinions, and they're debating each other. And but it's a good debate. It's not like a nasty debate or anything like that. You know, people are really enjoying themselves in the chat room when we're monitoring this, and we're going to be monitoring this in 2 hours. So guys, that was really it I had for today. I was hoping the phones would be a little more, or used a little bit more, but hey, they're not. So I don't really have a whole lot more to go over. I mean, I do. Well, I was planning on saving this for, why not? I was planning on saving this for our, actually, it's a video file. Hold on a second. I was planning on saving this for our Alec Murdoch stuff, but why not play it? I might as well play it. It's about a half hour long, but you will, we watched the AM initial interview in the car, but you guys have not seen this one yet. And this is the one that is the initial arrival of, here we go. Initial arrival of law enforcement. Let me take the banner down.
Central 717 scene is secure at a Whiskey Fox.
Those blurbs, like this is, sorry, let me pause this. This is literally the first officer that arrives on the scene. Those blur marks, let me see if I can back it up. We'll go back. Those blur marks that you see are Paul and Maggie on the ground. So you're not going to see the graphic nature or anything real graphic, but you do see the proximity to the bodies, where they were laying, even though you can't see details or position because they are grayed out. So there's nothing real ultra graphic with this, but I did want to start this over so you guys can see it.
Central 717 scene is secure at a Whiskey Fox, Whiskey Mike, both gunshot wounds to the head.
Sir, I want to let you know, because of the scene, I did go get a gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man. You're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any.
Okay. Yes, sir. I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
It's bad. It's bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir. This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I went and got. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
You know, he's been getting like punched. I know that's somebody. I know that's what it is.
Okay. When did you get home? Right when you called, or did you go to the house first? Where is the house?
I came to the house first. My mom has late stages Alzheimer's, and my dad is in the hospital.
Okay.
I left, I don't know what time. I can go back on my phone and tell you the exact times. Did you check?
Okay. Did I check what?
Did you check them?
We got medical guys that are, that's what.
He kept asking, did you check them? Did you check them? He's already checked them according to his own statements. He's already checked their pulse. From his own statements, he's already saw brains laying around. I mean, come on. Like, he just needed that confirmation to know the job was done. It just seems like he won't stop. He's just, Alex changed clothes and goes goes for the pity. My dad's in the hospital. Yes, and not only that, but the first thing out of his mouth. What's the first thing out of his mouth? The boat wreck, the boat wreck, the boat wreck, the boat wreck, the boat wreck. Everything you talk, boat, 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 boat. Like, but you listen to this and listen to some of the answers he gives. Now, mind you, we now know because of the trial that he was only there. He drove from the house because of the OnStar data. He drove from the house to the kennels, and within 20 seconds, we are to believe that this man got out of his car, ran to his son, tried to check his son's pulse, flip his son over. The phone fell out of his back pocket. He picks it up, puts it on his on top of him. Then he runs over to his wife some 30 feet away and checks her pulse with her having a huge hole in the back of her head. But that only took him 20 seconds to accomplish before he called 911. It seemed to me he already knew what he was rolling up on. He rolls up on it. He gets out of the car. He takes his deep breath. You know, now it's time. The show must start, right? The show must start. So he gets himself prepared. He probably practices his sound, his voice, and everything, and then picks up the phone within 20 seconds of pulling up to the kennels and starts calling 911. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. It seems like it would have taken a lot longer than 20 seconds to get out of his truck, walk over to his son, try to flip his son over, try to check his son's pulse, find his phone, put his phone on the back of his bottom, and then go over to his wife and proceed to try to do the same thing. That does not make sense. In 20 seconds, in my opinion, that didn't happen. He also has no blood on him. Even though he tried to flip his bloody son over, he tried to check his bloody son's pulse. He tried to check his bloody wife's pulse, yet no blood on his shoes as he tried to step near his son or his wife. No blood on his nails, his fingers, or his hands, showing that he even attempted to check their pulse. None of this. None of this. I have goosebumps too. Let's keep
What they're
going.
going to do, okay?
What are they doing? Can they hurry?
They are. Yes, sir. That gentleman that was out here already, he's one of the battalion chiefs, okay? How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
And so that is...
Again, failing to even tell them, they were down here before I left, but he failed to tell them. He was caught, and we definitely know he was there at 8:47 at night. We definitely know that. But he tries to allege that he hasn't been down there for hours. Hours.
Loaded.
Okay.
You might want to unload it. But I mean...
Is this the only firearm with you? This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
I believe that's it.
You think that's the only one? Okay.
I'm 99%.
Do you normally
certain that's
have
right.
any other firearms in your vehicle?
I don't, but occasionally.
And he says he doesn't usually have a firearm, but everybody has stated he always carried a pistol in his car. Always.
Occasionally there's a pistol in there.
Okay.
Occasionally, he says.
Just wait right here for me for a second, okay?
Ain't that the truth, Mike?
Copy.
Kill your front light 13C.
Enjoy it, sir. Well, I've already spoken with Captain Deal. He's got.
You see that blur mark there?
He's also got.
That's Paul.
POC assistance of a couple of field agents. Roger that. No.
He keeps wanting them to be checked to see if they're dead. I find that odd as well. Why is he needing to have confirmation that both are dead and deceased? He was there. He saw one of their, everything. Like the testimony said, there was a huge gaping hole in the back of Maggie's head. I mean, Paul's was blown clean off.
That's what it looks like.
Randy. Maggie's all dead.
And also, another thing we learned through testimony is that he has a way to turn on the waterworks and turn them off. Absolutely, Melody. Crocodile tears is absolutely correct. Is absolutely correct.
Where are you now?
He's more concerned about where everybody's at for his production.
All right. Yeah, the police are here now. The police are here now.
Hold on, guys. All right, hold on just a second. I took the phones down, and so now I got to put them back up without without doxing you. So give me just a second. Okay. There we go. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Turkey Man.
Hey, Turkey Man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. I was watching that piece that you had up about the first arrival of the police.
Yep.
Question on this. Paul was killed first with a shotgun, right?
It appears that way. That's what I'm getting from the evidence. Yes.
And Maggie was killed with a AR-15-223.
Yep.
I'm having a hard time understanding exactly how it took place because number one, they're saying that it had to be somebody my height or Dolly's height to do this.
I disagree.
Because of the size. They're saying they have to be 5 foot nothing or a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
They kept saying. The thing about it is if you're on your knees or if you're laying in a prone position, you're down. And if you notice that the lights out there, they've got a kind of a haze over them. So it's kind of like you got to be down to be able to see. Because if you're up, you're looking into the light.
Mm-hmm.
And I was noticing that when you had the car lights. So you want a light over you to be able to identify the target you're shooting, number one. But I'm still having a hard time figuring out the sequence with the two weapons. He could have paid to have somebody do this, but I think he had a hand one way or the other. But I'm having problems with the with the height deal, because they pointed that out with the prosecution's testimony, was identifying the angle of the weapon that was used. But 2 or 3 things I was going to ask you before I get off here. You talk about switching gears a little bit here off of this. You was asking about these trains and all that a few minutes ago, about explosions in the trains in our country, all the things that's going on in our country right now.
It's scary.
And what I had noticed, a friend of mine was just last week. We were taking a ride through the countryside down here, and we live in a real rural area, and train was coming, so we stopped on a real country road away from traffic, and that train was flying. I mean, we're talking about, and we both commented, said that train is, I mean, it's a moving. I've never seen one move that fast, and it was long, and that was odd, because I stopped the trains several times. This was almost like the train that was running away was out of control, and I could see just anything happening. That train was going to leave the tracks because it was unbelievably fast. And we commented that, we felt like with what's going on in our country that there's going to be more produce and more stuff carried by trains because of gas and everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
So I think they're using the rail cars more, has added to that somewhat. I don't know at what degree, but I did know what I witnessed and thought that was weird. But the other thing I was going to ask you, Betty, I know that you go into courthouses and or in those venues like that a lot. How many times have you seen the 10 Commandments inside those facilities you go to? Are they still posted in there?
No. You're talking about like armed guards and stuff?
No, the 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments. I don't see them anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. My point is this, and I'm going to give my opinion because everybody has opinion. But we are supposed to be one nation under God. That we put our hand on the Bible, raise our right hand, and we're sworn in. Under God. We look at those things. That's a structure, and it's more than just being a good person. My question would be, if you read the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not go, thou shalt not do these things, and just read them. If you don't obey those things that's in those 10 Commandments, you're going to end up in the courthouse. If you cheat on your wife, my wife's going to take me to cleaners.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up in the courthouse. If I kill someone, I'm going to end up in the courthouse.
You steal from your neighbor, you're going to end up in the courthouse.
Exactly. So looks to me like that number one would be a real good place to start with having those things posted, because yes, it's more than just being a good person. There's more, a relationship with the Lord is very important in our lives. But I think that has been one of the things that's our country, is that you can't say anything that you don't offend somebody. You can't have a stance about somebody wanting to destroy that stance. And I was wondering, just a thought process, what would we have, and I'm saying myself, or you, anybody, if we have tomorrow, what we have tomorrow, if all we have is what we give thanks for today? And I'll leave that on that note, because I know that several people are trying to get in, and I have enjoyed your channel, and I'm enjoying it. And by the way, I'm going to shoot our first filming of our new channel today too.
Oh,
So I'm excited.
nice. Make sure
I'm
you send
excited
me a
about
link
that.
so we can put it up on here tomorrow.
Well, it's I sent it to when I made a little comment yesterday. That'll be the link. We got our YouTube page fixed up. TC and T Man.
Ah, nice,
T,
nice.
no, T Carp and T Man. I'm sorry, T Carp and T Man. But anyhow, I'll be picking your brain on what I need to get as far as cameras and stuff. We'll start off with a phone, but
Be honest with you, I run
I
everything off my laptop. Like even my camera, my mic, and everything is just traditional for the laptop. I do have some, some lighting to help lighten my face up and I didn't even need the lighting when my fan was working. But after Ian, apparently water leaked into my fan and it burned it out.
I'll leave this one thing with you, Betty. Have you ever heard the story of the frog and the pot of water
Mm-hmm.
on the stove?
I think I did about this. Does it have to do with boiling water?
Yeah, you put a frog in a pot of water and put it on the stove. Just turn it up just a little
Just
bit.
a little, and it'll cook itself, and it'll never know. Yeah, I heard that one. But you can tell it for the audience.
Well, basically, that's what it means. You take it, that's where we're at. We are so numb that it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. That we have taken things that just being a good person. Now, I'm not saying there's more to it, just being a good person, but you take that frog and you put him in a pot, put him water in it, put him on the stove, and turn the eye on. And as it warms up, he'll get used to it till he'll stay right there and get boiled. And when he could hop out. And I'm just thinking, I want your audience, I want the audience that we're going to have, I want those people to understand that we live in a great country.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things out there that's just great, but we need to give back to basics. We need to put God first in our life. We need to have more courtesy toward people. We need to be more of a servant in that regard, but we don't have to be so it's my way or the highway idea.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at it with a mind of understanding this is a problem, and to fix this problem, we need to do it this way, and agree on we can move forward, not be pulling against each other. And I just I appreciate the time. Appreciate you taking my call.
I love hearing from you. I love hearing from you.
You have a blessed day. Okay?
You too, Turkey Man. Before you leave, I got a quick question. Yes. Do you think that all these things, I mean, we're seeing several explosions this last couple weeks. We've seen several derailments this last couple weeks. Do you believe there's something more going on that we're not apprised of?
I don't. I know that that back when the 2020, when the COVID deal come about, and that's another story in itself. I think that during that period of time, America changed. We going to work on a regular basis. People were keeping jobs. People were going to church regular. Everything is virtual now.
Mm-hmm.
As me being a pastor, I see it's hard. I set up, Facebook Live, all the stuff that you can worship,
mm-hmm.
but people are refusing to come to church and gather around. It's over half of what was before that. Also, as a pastor and going in and visiting a family member in the hospital, like for instance, your mom or your dad's hospital, Pastor, would you go and visit my mother or my dad or my loved one or this person? It was difficult to be able to go in and they was just allowing one person to go into the visit that individual a small time, and that kind of, our healthcare system was terrible to start with. But I had a lady, and this is not to cause an argument. It's not cause somebody come out. But I had a lady in my congregation, 80-year-old. She fell during that period of time, and her son, he couldn't go in. He don't want to go see her, and so about 2 weeks went. She broke her hip, and they was going to put her into a facility to give her therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he couldn't. They put her in a nursing home. They couldn't even get her to where she really needed to be. So they put her in a nursing home, and he couldn't even go see her because all nursing homes shut down.
Yeah.
Well, he calls me, and he said, I just got a phone call, and they said my mom's got COVID, and I can't get in to see her, and said they're going to put her in the COVID unit. And I told him, I said, do not let them do that. Have her sent back to the hospital immediately. He did. She didn't have COVID. Now, she died because of not having that person helping them through the day, the family member.
Right.
She died because of she wasn't taking care of that way. But that being said, when finally it come down to the end, I went and stayed all night with him in the room,
mm-hmm.
and then for all night. But there was several times I went in to see people that there was on their deathbed
mm-hmm.
during that period of time because I was sent, and that's tragedy. The people that needed health care was not getting health care and not being taken care of, and a large lack of staff. But the other thing is no responsibility, no someone holding to you to make sure that you're taken care of.
Right.
So, our country's got a lot of problems, but I think if we'll get back to basics and just look at the 10 Commandments and read those things, and we could start being a good person. We can start with that.
I agree.
But I'll get out of here, Betty. Thanks for taking.
Well, God bless you, Turkey Man. It's always a pleasure having you on the channel.
I'll talk to you later.
God bless. Bye-bye. What a sweet guy. What a sweet guy. I always enjoy talking to him, and he always gives that sweet. You can tell he's a pastor because he just has that tone. He has a way of explaining things that just get to you, and he's always right about some things. I won't agree with him 100% on everything, but he's always right, especially when it comes to the spiritual stuff. And actually, one of the reasons why we always put God first here on this channel, and I find the language of letting go is a great way of doing so. But yes, this country, it just seems like a lot of stuff is going on at a very pivotal and crucial time, and it's a little off-putting for me. It's a little scary and terrifying for me because I feel like something is brewing, and we're not going to know about it until it's here. And I just want everybody to, be healthy, be well, and take care of themselves because, as you guys know, we're friends on here, and I care deeply about every single one of you. And when one of you guys are missing, I get concerned. And a prime example is Emma. Sepsis kills. There was one time we didn't hear from her for 2 weeks. And I was starting to actually broadcast out loud on here. If anybody sees her on other channels, just let me know she's okay. And come to find out she was in the hospital. And so, we want everybody on here safe. And when I feel like something is going on, I will transfer this platform in a heartbeat to advocate for that. And I don't usually bring up, the bombings, the derailments, all this government stuff, all these other things that don't go with true crime. I never bring those really up on here. This was the first time I've ever felt moved so much to do so. But after seeing video after video in different areas and different counties, all in February. Something is just, it's in the pit of my stomach. And I just want everybody to be aware of their surroundings right now. Everybody across this country, please be aware of your surroundings. We're noticing that a lot of this stuff is going off outside of that Brooklyn explosion. A lot of this stuff is going off in rural areas. So, just be cognizant. Again, if you see something, say something. I don't care how little it is. I don't care if you're the laughing stock of the week because they found an empty backpack somewhere. If you see a backpack laying around, call it in. At this point, it doesn't matter. Right? Safety is the only concern I have. So just be safe, everyone, please. And I say that with every bit of energy that I have to tell you guys that. So to me, something's going on here. Hopefully, I'm blowing something out of proportion. I hope I'm wrong about this. But if I'm not, you guys need to be careful. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So it was nice seeing the turkey man, or hearing from the turkey man. Let's go ahead and put this back up.
That's my brother.
Okay. When was the last time you were here with?
And he's on the phone with family here, and they haven't even got through his first round of questioning yet. And he's too busy blowing up everybody's phones. I don't know. I just find his behavior in and around this time to be very odd to me. Something is definitely looming over us. Scary times we're living in. I agree, Sugar Mama. Sugar Mom. I'm going to call you my Sugar Mama. Just put it, instead of M-O-M, just put M-A-M-A. Maybe you should say BHB. No, I'm just joking. Kind of quiet watcher will comment here and there, but I agree there is something wrong. Okay, yeah, I have to. There's just, I don't know why. I've never taken this channel and talked about that stuff before, but I'm telling you, as I was going through all these videos, I'm like, this something's not right.
With them, or talk to them, or anything like that.
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
So we know that that's a lie. We know that statement right there is a lie. And here's why. Why do we know that statement is a lie? It's because he sat there. We know for a fact, we have OnStar data that he left there at 9:07 to go to Alameda. We know that for a fact because the OnStar data isn't lying, right? So he said he's seen them a few hours before he went to Alameda. Let's go back and listen to his statement. Let's just go back a couple. That's probably a little too much. It's like 30 seconds. Let's go here.
When was the last time you were here with them, or talked to them, or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
That's a lie, because we definitely know he is on a Snapchat video at exactly 8:47. 8:47. And he leaves the house at 9:07, 20 minutes later. And he was down there at the dog kennels. He wasn't gone to Alameda for an hour and a half. As a matter of fact, he pulled back up at his house at almost exactly 10 p.m. on the dot. That is correct. He left at, so that was a total of 53 minutes, not an hour and a half. From the time he left at 9:07 to the time we believe the murders happened at 8:49 at night, that left him a window of 15 to 17 minutes to clean up and drive out of his driveway. 17 minutes. This is his story, his very first story to law enforcement.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check him?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check him?
Yes, sir.
This is official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
Hasn't gotten off that dead. He
sorry.
wants to make sure they're dead
You're
for
fine.
some reason. It's official. They're
I'm
dead.
very
They're
sorry.
dead.
Gotta call her parents.
What's her name?
Her name is Maggie Murdoch. Margaret Brandstetter Murdoch. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay, and what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Terry Murdoch.
And what's his birthday?
Jason, do you have anybody
4.
coming through town that could stop and pick up that tent? I see lighting off in the distance.
What are they covering them up?
I got some getting dressed now, Sheriff. I'll have somebody stop and grab it.
Tell them they don't have to do that.
Oh, did Okie put a super sticker? I'm sorry, I
Preserve what
missed
we
it,
can.
Okie. Thank you, Love Bug.
653. Where's it at? I'm in town.
I missed it. Hopefully I didn't miss too many. I'm
Actually,
sorry,
tried
I'm
to
not
be
paying
Delta 8,
attention to the
because
chat.
he's the only one that's got access.
What's
to
Paul's
where it is
birthday?
right
Copy.
April 14th, 1999, sir.
Put it up as wide as you can.
I believe so too.
That's fine. You said 99?
Sir?
He was born in 99?
He's born April 14th, 1999.
Okay. What's your first name, sir?
My name is Alex Richard Alexander Murdoch.
Richard Alexander Murdoch?
You familiar with the location?
We're going to pause this just for a second. I'm going to go ahead and bring the phones up. Don't call in yet. Let me change that. There you go. Get my camera back on. Mab, if you want to call in, go ahead and call in now. And we'll pause that video because I'm interested in hearing people's comments today. Hey, love.
Hey, Betty.
How are you?
I'm good.
I hear myself
How
in the
you doing?
background a little bit.
I turned it off.
Okay.
He's guilty of sin, man. Alec Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you saw him in the police state 3 days later in the police car. I did him so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know that's what he had to have said, and they're trying to say they did him so wrong. And I went back and listened to it. I mean, my hearing's
No.
not the best, but I'm telling you.
I did him so wrong. That's what he said. And they're on Star Data with all that. I think he's going down.
I do too. If you know, we watched that the defense's first expert witness trying to dispute some of the findings of the state police, and he didn't do a very good job. And if that's what we're going to be expecting from the defense, I think they're going to have a hard time proving their case personally.
I mean, how can the defense go up against the evidence?
Well, they still have to try.
Yeah, they're going to try, of course.
But they brought in a guy that's usually, for civil cases. He's done a few murder investigations, but it doesn't sound like he has the qualifications or the education to be handling a case like this. And it sounds like they're just using him because he was already being used as their expert witness for the boat accident.
Who is this?
And that is the defense expert, and I can't remember his name. I think I may have already taken it off. Let me just see if I've no, Mike.
The boating
Sutton.
accident.
He's a forensic engineer, Mike Sutton.
The boating accident was, they were requesting $30 million for a settlement.
Yeah, but when Mark Tinsley was on the stand, he said he was definitely firm at $10 million.
Well, even $10 million.
Yeah.
He was in a world of hurt.
Yes.
At that time. And I think Maggie was about to kick him to the curb too.
because I think she realized he was lying to her about a lot. I think, this.
About the opiates, about financial crimes.
Do you believe Buster when he said he was unaware of his father's drug use?
No.
I didn't either. I didn't believe
He's
him.
probably doing it with him.
Excuse me.
Buster seems like worse Paul ever was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Paul was a drinker.
Yeah, I just found it odd that Paul was the little detective for mom, but older brother knew nothing.
No, I can't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch this trial from, I didn't have time to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
all the way through. But Tinsley, I loved him.
Yeah, I thought he was a strong witness.
And the OnStar guy.
The OnStar guy, it wasn't the OnStar guy. It was the guy that put all the stuff together on that timeline. I think was one of the most powerful witnesses that the state had. And that was, they were very smart putting him last to button up the entire case at the end.
Yeah, like when it was in park, it came out of park, back in the park. If he was smart, he would have just put the emergency brake on and left it in drive.
Well, nobody thinks of things like that. Like we learned a lot with this case. Like me personally,
I know.
I've learned.
We could be better criminals now.
What did you say?
So we could be better criminals now.
Or criminal chasers. We could be better. We can be better. I don't know what they call, but we could be
Storm
better
chasers.
at something.
JLR was talking about being storm chasing this.
He's already storm chased before. He went to Cedar Bay during Irma, I want to say.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's
talking about tornadoes. He's talking about tornado chasing.
Yeah, he's one of those thrill people. Like I remember when he was there, I was watching him on video, and he's like, this is lame. And then it's like, then he writes back and he's like, this is so cool. And I'm thinking, what are you doing?
You were talking about the explosions and stuff?
Yes.
Well, like I told you before, I told somebody that our local food processing plant, because this Central Valley in California is the breadbasket, or not, kind of the breadbasket of the country.
Yeah.
And that Central Valley, and then these river bottoms where I'm in, Pajaro Valley, it's strawberries. It's the biggest berry capital in the world.
Yeah.
Driscoll Strawberries is like 1 mile from my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I drive by strawberry fields, blueberries. I mean, it's all over the place. Used to be apples and oranges, but they changed it.
We are all a bunch of apples and oranges. We're a bunch of fruit. Let's be honest.
I have an orange tree in front of my house. It's probably the second biggest in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And it produces oranges 24/7.
Nice.
365, and they're delicious.
Very good. What do you think about all the explosions?
I think that the current administration wants to destroy this country.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I just know it's unnerved me. Like I'm looking at this stuff. People don't realize I'm getting up at like 3:00 in the morning, and so I kind of take some time for myself, get right with God, and then I start looking and researching and reviewing my emails. And I kept seeing one video after another, and I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Nord Stream 2. You see that guy come out on his
No, I haven't watched that yet.
report on Substack?
Tell me about it.
He's been a reporter since Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And his inside baseball is that during a NATO exercise, the Navy, because they didn't want the CIA to do it, because CIA has congressional oversight.
No.
The Navy.
Well, see, from my
Navy
understanding,
divers.
CIA should be doing literally no business on American soil. They're for overseas, other countries.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Well,
supposed to be here, but I've heard them even stepping their toes into stuff they would be a violation of law because they are not allowed to conduct
Yeah.
business here in the United States.
Well, it's gone to hell, Betty.
I believe it.
They were practicing in not Norwegian with the Norwegians, and they had actually 9 divers from Florida who planted the C4, and they planted the C4 with a remote detonation that they could drop a buoy in the water, broadcast a signal, which I invented, by the way. I have a patent for it. Did I sell that patent? I don't know. I forget. I think I did. I've sold like 20 patents of mine.
Right.
In intellectual property. I invented DVR, proximal advertising, all kinds of stuff that went big.
Mm-hmm.
I just invented a AI for Zoom.
Oh, nice. If people want to know what AI means, it's automated.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, artificial intelligence. So if you guys hear AI, that's what he's referring to. Good morning, House of Williams, by the way, and Ricky Beavers. Nice to see you.
Hello, Hal.
So what do you think is going to be in the foreseeable future at this rate? I don't even know if I want to ask that.
Huh?
I said, what is in the foreseeable future at this rate? And I almost don't even want to ask that.
Well, Biden is trying to send tanks to Ukraine, okay? He's spending billions of dollars protecting Ukraine's border when he won't even touch our border.
When we have children, when we don't even have a good welfare system in our child welfare system
We
in
got
our country.
fentanyl, we got we got fentanyl, we got terrorists coming in from all over the damn world.
It's getting scary.
I just saw a report today that said we have more terrorists than we've ever had in this country because of the open border policy, and that we're going to have another terrorist incident similar to 9/11 that's going to take more of our freedoms away.
I know, because every time anything happens, they have knee-jerk reactions and pass ridiculous bills without thinking them through because they're doing them half asleep and in the middle of the night.
Yeah, like after 9/11.
That Patriots Act is absolutely detrimental to our society and our privacy.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. And they found no weapons of mass destruction. Come on, man.
And I heard that the person that they executed didn't even have anything to do with it. So it's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
I even know that Osama bin Laden was already dead by the time they killed him. Wow. He had diabetes. He died of that. He was actually had an American name back in the Afghanistan time, and he was a CIA guy. CIA created ISIS.
Oh, I believe it. I don't know who created it. I just want all this nonsense to go away. I'm sick of war. I'm sick of things being blown up here in the United States.
Gabbard or somebody in there that's anti-war. There was no wars under Trump.
I don't want to get into a political argument because
I know. I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I mean, I completely agree and understand exactly what you're stating, and it's a sad state of affairs in our country.
It's a fine line between the political and the actual that's going on.
I agree 100%.
You're almost unable to disconnect the two.
I know. I I get it. All right, Mab. Well, it looks like Ricky Beavers wants to try to call in. So let me try to grab him. I haven't talked to him in quite some time.
All right, Betty.
All right. Take care. God bless.
You too. Bye.
All right, Ricky, I'm turning the phones on. If you want to give a call in, hopefully I don't remember your number on here, but the number is 724-249-6140. I had to change the phone number for our call in. So Ricky Beavers, 724-249-6140. So we are, believe it or not, I was thinking we were going to be closing the doors, so we're closing this live out at like an hour, and here we are crossing over 2 hours, and I'm still waiting for Ricky to call in. You know what, Buffalo Mountain Girl, it's hard not to think about that. I mean, especially after knowing that they had this huge worldwide agenda in Switzerland just a few weeks ago. I'm worried. That's all I'm going to say is I'm worried. Thank you, PB&J. Is I'm worried. And if I wasn't worried, I wouldn't bring it to my channel. I wouldn't be having this up on my channel. But I'm sorry. We've got derailments, multiple derailments, multiple explosions across this country. Something is not feeling right to me. And I don't want to be blowing something out of proportion. But something just doesn't feel right to me. And I can't help that. This is what I'm going to do, Ricky. I need to close the live down. I will call you when I'm done with my lives. I've got a hair appointment at 10. So let me call you after I'm done with my hair appointment and we'll chat, because I was actually just thinking of you last night and this morning, and I have some ideas. So Ricky, if you're still on here, I love you and miss you, my friend. I will call you today. I've got like 5 people on my list that I need to get a hold of today, and we'll chat. But I'm going to go ahead and close the phone lines down. But for all those people, the new call-in number, if you guys want to save it in your phones, is 724-249-6140. And you can just say Bullhorn Betty call-in number or BHB call-in number to save it in your phones, so you guys have it when you decide you want to call in. And who knows, maybe one day I'll accidentally leave the phones on and you'll surprise me. Anyways, guys, I know we've covered quite a bit today with our topics, from what is going on. We've got Alec Murdoch come back here. We're going to finish watching those initial few moments when officers were first arriving on scene. We're going to be playing that today on our live for the Alec Murdoch trial. Today is day 22 of trial. Day 22 of trial. Day 20 of actual testimony. 2 days were reserved for voir dire, which is jury selection, again, part of trial. The reason why I'm making a point to say this is because there's a lot of criminal justice news organizations that are going to be labeling today day number 20, and it's not. It's day number 22, because voir dire is the first part of trial. So guys, with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. We are hump day, right? We're sliding into the week. I've got things going on today. I got things going on tomorrow, and we're gearing up. I've got an important meeting tomorrow afternoon with attorneys about our child welfare system. And so I'm still looking for somebody to make flyers. If I don't have somebody to help me make flyers for my DC trip, I will have to design those and make those myself, which is not a big deal, and I will do it. So just reach out to me if you guys would like to help on the flyers. I'm trying to make some bullet points, like 4 flyers to a page that I can cut, and I want to be able to get those passed out when I'm in DC, so I can try to find people that will be willing to help this agenda item for our children. And it'll just take a huge weight off my shoulder if somebody else can help me design the flyer. If it needs to be a whole page, I'll print up a regular page. If we can get it 2 to a page or 4 to a page, that would be preferable. Ask Dolly at BHB. He's great with graphics. Yeah, but he's also really, really busy. And it's sometimes easier for me to reach out to my audience. I'm on board to help. Oh, thank you, Oki. Then maybe I'll give you a call. You're actually on my list of people I needed to call anyways. I only chatted with you by text yesterday. But one thing I got from that video we were showing is that he said occasionally has a pistol. He grabbed a shot. The officer grabbed the shotgun to secure it without having gloves on, even though he had gloves on when he was there when he first arrived on scene. He said earlier tonight, an hour and a half, and you hear the officer in the background saying, "Preserve what we can." They talk about a set of footprints behind the shed, quite a bit of tire tracks. Left one time and came back, he says, and then the officer finally puts the gloves on, his latex gloves on, about 2,500 hours. They were talking about the crime scene logs and evident log sheets in that video. So I'm interested in those as well. So, yep. Thank you, Sean. Spread some love today. That is your only job, because we are dealing with a lot out here in America. We're dealing a lot out here in the true crime industry. And so just, again, be vigilant. If you guys can, if you see something, say something. So we'll just get on with it. Don't forget to be fearless, folks. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound to cure. Good day, all. And until next time, be safe.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.